Hi guys! This is going to be my first YouTube video. Please excuse the somewhat ghetto background. I'm in college, I have to make do with cinder block walls and kind of stinky, dusty areas, but I figure you can't smell it, so it's fine. So today I want to risk alienating the few people who will actually watch my channel by talking about politics. Politics is a scary word for some Americans. A lot of people think of it as this big, gigantic, horrible, lurking, monstrous beast at the edge of everybody's vision. You sit there and you look at politics and you think, not a huge fan. And then, of course, on the other end are the people who are obsessed with politics. These are the people who majored in poli-sci or international affairs or pre-law, but never actually went anywhere with it. So these people sit around and they find the people who really don't want to talk about politics, and they come up to them and they say, "Let me tell you about Rick Santorum," at which point the appropriate reaction is, "Ah, no, no." At this point, I should probably define who I am. I am a poli-sci major, but I also have a deep dislike for certain aspects of the American political arena. With that said, I also have a deep dislike for a lot of the Republican candidates in the 2012 election. So let's get started with some of my personal favorites. We'll go in order from least crazy to most crazy. Starting with number one, incumbent president and candidate for his second term in office, President Barack Obama. We actually came to a town close to where I lived at the time and spoke. I thought he was really great public speaker. He was a lot better than Mr. Bush. Yeah. So that was impressive. I admired his platform. While he hasn't gotten everything done that I wanted him to get done, he really has only had 4 years, and the first term is notorious for being kind of an ineffective period as you get used to being in the highest office in the United States. Second, of course, we have Mitt Romney. To me, Mitt Romney is like an actor playing the president. He already gives off an air of complete exhaustion at all of his interviews, and everybody's already critiquing him for being out of touch just a little bit, tiny bit. And, that's what you have to expect from having millions and millions of dollars from the time you were a very, very small child until quite recently, and still having millions of dollars. Also paying a somewhat ridiculous tax rate on your money. I'd probably be out of touch too. Second, I want to talk about, someone a little bit crazier, but not as crazy as some of the other people we've seen. This guy is the candidate that I like to call the awkward man baby, and everybody knows who this is at this point. I'm talking about Newt Gingrich, who has somehow managed to hold on to some form of political relevancy, even though the fact that he stopped being relevant about 1993. Newt Gingrich, I don't see how somebody who tosses relationships aside like rags is in any way serious enough to run the country for any given amount of time. Also, he's ugly and kind of scary. Third, let's talk about Rick Santorum, who Rick Santorum, I can't help but think that he is actually a ploy by the Democratic Party to point out to the Republican Party how ridiculous their platforms have becoming, except he's not. It's terrifying, this idea that this guy could come in anti-women's rights, anti-gay rights, anti-everything, anti-fun, anti-sex, anti-porn, pretty much everything that makes the world interesting, and then try and get away with it. And the worst part is he's winning states. And it's astonishing that he's gotten this far. I mean, really? This guy is... Moving on, let's talk about Ron Paul. I have a lot of independent libertarian friends who are kind of excited about Ron Paul. They think that, because he hasn't said anything specific on gay marriage and because anything specific about abortion rights, that he must be one of the better candidates for the Republican Party. However, these friends of mine are notably overlooking the fact that he has a voting record inconsistent with what he's saying now, and he's also published several racist, terrible publications, which I think, personally, should not be overlooked. If you're willing to use racial slurs in your small town political rhetoric, why aren't they there in the national scale? Finally, I want to talk about a couple people who are no longer in the race. Obviously, we're missing Rick Perry, who I think probably stabbed himself in the back with that YouTube video he released early into his campaign. I'm not afraid. And so this leads me to what I was really thinking about is, what do you guys think about the 2012 election? Where do you think it's going to go? I think the young people are still a lot more willing to compromise than the older people. And the older people are sitting there going, la 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 la, la 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 la. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.